Hi, folks. This is Mark by Mark A. Foster, Ph.D., or the Institute for Dialectical Meta-Realism. I am going to discuss a topic that for a long time I have literally delayed discussing. In fact, I have avoided it like the plague. I will be honest with you, and perhaps you will see why. But I'm going to do it in a very careful way, as careful as I can, so I don't upset anybody or don't rock the boat, because I don't want to do either of those things. That's not my objective. I've rocked the boat enough. I have. Um, and I'm talking about in the context of my own religion. Now, am I going to mention what my religion is? No, because I think that would simply make the situation worse. So I'm not going to mention it. If anybody asks me, I won't tell you. Now, if you want to find out, it's not hard to find out. Look up my name on the internet, just on the web, and you'll find it. It's not a secret, but it's not something that I'm going to talk about either. And why? Because again, I don't want to cause any more problems. But I think it is relevant to the subject of Maoism, third worldism, as I understand it. And so that's why I'm doing it. In spite of the fact that my gut tells me not to do it. Literally, my gut tells me not to do it. My gut tells me to shut up, Mark. Shut up, Mark. Shut up, Mark. But I'm not going to shut up. I have a big mouth. And so without mentioning my religion, I will talk about something that relates to it and to me. The connection between the two, my religion and me. Here's the basic idea. For several years, I was on a path toward administration and more administration within my religion. That ended in 1985, at the same time, well, a year later, as my last administrative appointment occurred. And these were relatively big appointments. We're not talking about small appointments, relatively big for their time. Again, I won't tell you what they are, but they were relatively big for their time. When I became a college professor in 1985, a year after getting my PhD, well, not quite a year, more like half a year, because there was a delay of half of a semester between when I finished my PhD and when my first appointment started. And it was only a temporary appointment. I was replacing somebody on maternity leave who turned out to be a complete and utter jerk anyway, but that's beside the point. I don't know why she was a jerk, but she was. So I won't even mention the university that I'm talking about. But fortunately, right after that replacement position, I got a full-time position, which was hard back then. The market has, I think, improved. At least that's my observation. The market has at least improved. I think. I think it has. From what I've seen, from what it was back at that time. That was at the beginning of my career. My career ended in effect in May of last year. And no, May of last year, no, I'm sorry, that's not correct. In December of 2022. Okay, so now I've got the timing correct. December of 2022 was when my appointment ended, because I retired. You know, I got to the age where I could retire. I was eligible for Social Security and Medicare. I did not yet know I was a multimillionaire. So I made my plans accordingly. There was a message from the dean that was emailed out to all faculty, which said that a particular benefit that we had been getting, it was called a pharmaceutical benefit, which meant that based upon unused sick time, we had a choice of either getting a pharmaceutical card that we could use for drugs, or we could get extra money that was added to our pensions. I chose the extra money. I don't know what other people chose, but that's what I chose. I assume I was not the only person to make the decision to leave at that time. In fact, I believe that there were a lot of people that left, mostly old timers like me, people that are eligible for Social Security and Medicare. They left. I left. Now, what happened after that? Okay. Not after that, but before that. When I finished my Ph.D., and I still had that administrative appointment in my religion, the year after that, or the January after that, when my temporary position started, I had to establish myself as a sociologist. And I made it clear that I was a Marxist sociologist, because I am. There is such a thing as Marxist sociology. Originally, it was called radical sociology. That was the original name that was used in the late 60s, early 1970s. That term was later abandoned and replaced by either Marxist sociology, or in some circles, and perhaps somewhat controversially, public sociology, because public sociology is defined in two different ways depending upon who you ask. But I own the website, publicsociology.com. So I define public sociology, at least to people who go to that website. And I have chosen the Marxist definition of public sociology. I am delaying what I want to say. I admit that. I'm delaying what I want to say. My administrative, not really a career, I guess avocation within my religion stopped. It just suddenly stopped. Now, does that mean I stopped being of service? No. I continued being of service, including basically running all or most internet activities for my religion. But I did that entirely through my own initiative. Nobody gave me that position. I was no longer given any more positions. That stopped. So it was noticeable to me, and I know why. I've already told you, in a sense. Most members of my religion are not Marxists. Doesn't matter what kind of Marxist. You can think of any kind of Marxist you want. Most members of my religion are not Marxists. There are a lot of people in my religion who I would call far right, but they are in the minority. I would say most are somewhat in the middle, maybe progressive to a degree with some people, but generally, I would just say middle of the road. As a communist, as a revolutionary communist, I am definitely not middle of the road. And in fact, contrary to what most people do, the older I have gotten, the more radical I have become. Why? I don't know. I don't know. But that's just been my story. I have literally become more radical with age, more revolutionary with age. And that has made me even less desirable as somebody to be appointed within my own religion. Now, bear in mind, I'm speculating. Nobody ever told me this. So I am basing what I am saying on simple observation. Could I be wrong? Yes, I could be wrong. Do I think I'm wrong? Absolutely not, because I've seen it. It's my life. And it was so sudden to go from a time where I had these high administrative positions that honestly I could care less about because that's not where my interests lie, to literally never again being offered a single additional position. Now, are there some positions I think I might have liked? Yeah, maybe a couple. I'm not going to say what they are, because if I did, that might give away what my religion is, which I don't want to do. But needless to say, that certainly did happen to me. That is a part of my life. Now I'm an old man. I could care less, Who cares at my age? I'll be 68 next month. I don't care about such things. But I am in a situation where I have literally been turned into the subaltern in my religion. So, bringing up that term from Antonio Gramsci, the subaltern, which is a disputed term. Some people think that Gramsci was using subaltern to refer to the proletariat, to the workers. Other people, including me, think he was referring to people below the proletariat, the socially marginalized, or other people who are not even in the proletariat. That's how I use the term subaltern. So in this context, I am using the term subaltern in a very narrow way. It's not the way subaltern is generally used, because in most ways, I am not subaltern. I'm a wealthy guy. I'm a multimillionaire. I would not fit into the category of being subaltern. But in my religion, that is a different story. Let me give you one illustration. About a year ago, somebody asked me a question. This is right after I moved from Kansas down here to the Rio Grande Valley of Texas, 2 miles from Mexico. This person asked me a question, and I won't say what the question was either, but it was a question which dealt with my religion. Based upon my answer, which was correct, meaning I was correct and he was incorrect, he threatened to strangle me. He threatened to strangle me. He also accused me of cursing out his wife, which I never did. That was also, I guess, a part of the strangulation threat. I don't know. Um, as a result of those events, I have, for the most part, stayed away from face-to-face activities in my religion since that time. That does not mean I have stayed away from activities in my religion, but the activities I participate in now are either on Zoom or over the telephone. Now, will that change? It might. In fact, it might change relatively soon because I've gotten to the point where I've kind of gotten over that. This guy who threatened to strangle me is no longer around. He's a very sick man, physically sick, and he doesn't go out very much. His wife does, but not him. And so I'm not worried about him trying to strangle me. In fact, even at the time, did I think he would actually try to strangle me? No. Look, I'm not a big guy. I'm a small guy, right? I'm a small guy. I have a big stomach, I have a big stomach, but I'm not a muscular guy at all. Never have been muscular. I have always been a wimp, physically a wimp. And that is true today as well. So could this guy have actually hurt me? I don't know. Maybe. I have no idea. Do I think so? Maybe not, because of his own physical problems. He might have tried to. I don't know. Maybe he was simply blowing hot air. That's possible. But he might have tried to hurt me. Ultimately, the resolution to the problem was that he would apologize to me and I would apologize to him. Till this day, I have no idea what I apologized to him for. But I agreed to do it. What the heck? Why not? I'm sure there's something I must have done sometime in my life to somebody where I could say I apologize, but I did apologize to him, even though I did nothing to him. I didn't threaten to strangle him. He threatened to strangle me. I did not curse out his wife either. That was purely his own delusion, but I guess he believed it. I don't know how he got that idea, but he must have got it from somewhere. So, again, I have become, partially as a result of my own choice, I suppose, the subaltern in my religion. Did I have to be the subaltern? No. I could have chosen to keep on going, but my feeling was that if I did that, that there might be a bad situation, one where he tried to attack me, whether successfully or not. And I did not want to be a part of that kind of horrendous situation, even if he would not hurt me. That would not look very good. It would not look very good. And I'm not talking about how it would look for me. I'm just saying it would not look very good. It would not look very good for him. And most likely, he would be in prison. Now, is there a part of me that wishes he was in prison? Yes. In fact, I did call the police on him when he threatened to strangle me. But the police officer did nothing at all Why? I don't I don't know. I don't know. I told the police officer exactly what happened. Then I said, would you like me to stay here so you can talk to me after you speak with him? And the police officer said, no, I think it would be better if you headed home. And I said, I agree with you. Maybe I shouldn't have listened to him, but I don't know. What else could I do? That's what he told me. And my assumption was, which was wrong, that the police officer would arrest him, which never happened. So the guy till this day is walking around a free man. I can't change that, but I am. I'm not in the third world. I'm not in the fourth world in the sense of a part of any kind of indigenous population. I am not subaltern in the sense of being socially marginalized and poor and at the bottom of the social hierarchy. In fact, completely the opposite of that. But within my religion, yes, I am definitely a part of the subaltern. And so I mention that as a way of illustrating what has happened to me as a result of being honest and coming out as a Marxist sociologist. Would I do it again? Yeah. I mean, how could I not do it? That was my perspective. I wasn't going to lie and say I was not a Marxist sociologist, say that I was a structural functionalist or a symbolic interactionist or an ethnomethodologist or something else. I am a Marxist sociologist. That's what I did. So, yeah, I mean, I would do the same thing again. And I guess the same thing would happen. It's just sad that it did happen and that particular police officer chose not to arrest the guy. So do I have any resentment toward him? Yes and no. I'm being honest, yes and no. I do in a way. I don't like it if somebody threatens to strangle me. That's not very nice. But no, in the sense that I mean, I don't let his actions occupy my mind. I have better things to think about than him. Do I like him? No, I despise him with a passion. Would I ever hurt him? No. Well, not unless he came at me. Then I would certainly try to defend myself as best I could, but I certainly would not target him or go after him. I'm not a violent person. I'm a very peaceful person by disposition. Maybe if there were a revolution, I would have to give that up and take part in the revolution as best I could. But by personality, I am peaceful, is what I'm saying. I don't like getting into fights. I just don't like it. It's not fun for me. I don't find it pleasurable. I don't even like debates. I stay away from debates. There are people who've tried to debate Marxism with me. And my response on one occasion was that, look, Karl Marx explained the way that communism would spread. He never mentioned debating as one of those paths to communism. Debating, if you like it, good, do it. But debating is, in my view, not a route to communism. It has no impact, or will have no impact, in my view, on the establishment of communism. in the third world, or perhaps eventually in the first world. So I don't want to fight with people, but certainly the fact that I have not gotten any appointments in my religion since 1985 indicates to me that I have become a part of the subaltern. So be it. It's not the end of the world. I have had a good life in spite of that. Do I mind being a part of the subaltern? Half and half, half and half. I mean, it's not nice being marginalized. It doesn't feel good being marginalized. But the results of that marginalization, meaning not serving on administrative institutions, that part of it doesn't bother me. But I know that I am marginalized. I know that I am, because people know who I am, because I make no secret of it. How can I? How can a communist make a secret of being a communist? In my view, that person is not really a communist. To be a communist means to espouse communism, to talk about communism, to engage, here's that word again, in conscientization, to try to raise the consciousness of class and the conscience of class in people. So there's no way that I could avoid being a communist, being a Marxist sociologist. That was my career. It certainly impacted me, but I have accepted it. I know it. There are certainly a lot of capitalist people in my religion. They don't have the problems I do. Now, do I think that there is any evidence that capitalism is preferred to communism in my religion? No, not at all. But so be it. That's the world. That's the United States. I have dealt with it and accepted it. And however lively I may appear to be, that's not because I'm upset. That's only because I'm trying to appear lively in what I'm saying, so I don't bore people. That's the only reason I'm doing this, is to be animated. Being animated for the sake of being animated. That's all I'm trying to do. So no, am I upset? No, I'm not upset. And if you think I am upset, I'm not. I have accepted it. I've known about it since I made that decision back in 1985 to be honest. Because how could I be anything but honest as an academic? You can't be a dishonest academic. You're not really an academic. You have to be truthful as to what your perspective was. And I was truthful, but that truthfulness had consequences. For the time being, this is Mark by Mark A. Foster, Ph.D., for the Institute for Dialectical Meta-Realism. Have a pleasant day and an even better day tomorrow.